paper marbling mixture. And so some type of paper plate or tray that you can use to do that on. You will also need a ruler, some type of stirring instrument. In this craft, I'm going to be using a chopstick, just a leftover chopstick from takeout, but you can use a toothpick, you can use a spoon, you can use anything that you would like to stir, but keep in mind that this will be going into the paper marbling mixture that we'll make. Shaving cream. You're going to want to get a shaving cream that foams up, but any type of shaving cream that foams up will work. I just went to the dollar store and got some, and this will be used as the base for our paper marbling mixture. And then also food coloring. Again, I just got these at the dollar store. Any type will work. There's no particular brand that you need, but food coloring is what we'll use to create the pretty colors in our craft today. All right, let's go make it. All right, so to get started, the first thing that I did was cover my table with old papers. You can use newspapers. I just used some old magazines and ripped out the pages. And this is to cover your table so the food coloring that we're going to use doesn't stain it and doesn't cause any problems, and there's less mess to clean up. So yeah, covering the table or the surface that you're going to use with some type of protective paper or cleanable tablecloth or disposable tablecloth is the best way to start out. So the first thing I'm going to do is to prepare my my staining marbling mixture. So I'm going to take my paper plate and I'm going to cover it with my shaving cream. You don't need to use a whole lot. Let's see. Don't need to use a whole lot, just so it's enough to kind of cover it somewhat. And it'll spread out, of course, too. All right, I think that should be good. Might want to give it a few hits so it spreads out a little bit more, but it doesn't have to be completely even. You're going to be placing your paper in certain areas, so you don't have to, it doesn't have to cover the whole paper plate. All right, then I'm going to add my food coloring to my shaving cream. And so for this, you can use any colors that you have, or you can also mix the colors that you have together to create colors that you want. So for mine, I think I'm going to use some blue. And to do this, I'm going to take my blue food coloring right here, and I'm just going to add some drops throughout my shaving cream. All right, just a couple drops of those, a few drops of those. I also think I want to do yellow as well. So again, I'm going to take my yellow food coloring, sprinkle throughout, and then one final, I think I'm going to do red food coloring also. So again, take my red, do a few dots throughout. I'm going to do more of the red on this one. All right, yeah, there we go. And so once you have that done, you want to take either a stick. I'm going to use a chopstick, a leftover chopstick that I had from a takeout restaurant that I didn't use, and I just need, you can use a spoon, you can use a toothpick, just something that you can use to mix this a little bit. that can be easily washed, or with these you can just throw these out. So you're going to take your mixing instrument, your mixing utensil. I'm going to take my chopstick, and you're going to do some swirls throughout your shaving cream. This will mix some of the colors together, but this is how you're going to get a really cool design. So you can swirl it as much or as little as you would like. I'm just going to do a couple in there. Do some circles. Yeah, make sure it's nice and swirly. All right, that looks good. And so that's how you do the shaving cream color mixture that we're going to marble our paper with. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is actually do some paper marbling. So I am going to do a couple of different types of paper. I'm going to do an index card, do an envelope, and then also do a regular piece of paper that I folded in half just to make it easier to handle. You can do full-size paper if you want to try that also. So you're going to take your shaving cream marbling mixture that we made, and you are going to place the paper that you want to marble on top of the marbling mixture. I like to pat mine down a little bit just so make sure the coloring gets on there. And I want this whole thing to be marbled, so I made sure the whole thing was there. And then I'm going to peel it off like that. And so once you peel it off, you see some of the shaving cream has stuck to the piece of paper, has stuck to my index card. And so then we're going to take our ruler. As you can see, I've used this with some food coloring before. That's why it has this stain on there. But you're going to take your ruler or something else that you can use to scrape off the excess shaving cream. And so I'm just going to go like that and just scrape it off. There we go. And what I do with the excess, I just kind of scrape it on the side of the paper plate that has the shaving cream on it. If you want to take a napkin and wipe it off, if you don't want to put it back on there, that's fine too. Yeah, and so this is what it looks like. Very beautiful. You're going to want to set it aside and have it dry before you use it in any other projects. And so let me do some other examples. So I'm going to bring back my shaving cream mixture again, and I'm going to do an envelope. This time, I think I only want to do this back part of the envelope. And so this back part here. And so what I'm going to do is just press that part face down into my shaving cream mixture. All right, and then again, just peel that off. And then take your ruler, and scrape off the excess. And even though my table's covered, which is why I'm okay with scraping it off, the shaving cream off directly on here, if you wanted to get like a tray or another paper plate, you could also scrape the shaving cream off directly onto a tray or paper plate or something like that, if you don't want to do it on the table. But since I have this covered, I'm all right with that. And so that is what this looks like. Just doing the back of it, and then the front is still white. And again, I'm just going to set that aside and dry. All right. And lastly, I'm going to do my piece of paper. It's just a regular sized paper that I folded in half. I think I'm going to do both sides of it though, because I'm going to write a letter with this one. So to make it easier to manage, I just folded it in half. But so I'm going to press it down in my shaving cream. And I'm going to do this side as well. I see my shaving cream getting a little flat, so I'm actually going to take my chopstick, give it a little swirl again, just to bump it up a little bit again. And then I'm going to do the other side as well of the piece of paper, the other side of the piece of paper. Pull that up. And then I'm going to go ahead and open it up here. And I'm just going to scrape off the excess. And this is a cool craft that you can do and experiment with, because you can change up the colors, you can mix up the colors, you could do different swirl designs to see how that works. You can do a marbling one time like this and then redo it to see if it does something different, like let this dry and then put it on the shaving cream again to see what different designs it adds to your paper. But yeah, there you go. And so I'm going to set this aside and let that dry as well. All right, cool. So I gave those some time to dry. And so this is what they look like when they dry. This is the envelope that we did one side of. And this is the index card. You can see putting it in the shaving cream that has moisture does cause it to curl up a little bit on the sides. So if you wanted to make it more flat, you could wait till it dries for putting it on the shaving cream mixture, and then once it dries you can just put it in between the pages of a book to kind of help flatten it back out again. So there's that. And then this is the big piece of paper. Yeah, some cool swirls, some cool color mixtures. And then here are some other examples of ones I did previously that I use for just like writing letters to friends or writing notes to myself. But it gives pieces of paper a cool new background, especially if you're recycling paper and using something that's already been used in some way. This is another type of envelope that I did before. Yeah. I hope you had fun making the craft with me today. Like I said, I love doing paper marbling, and it's especially great if you love sending letters or special notes to friends and family. It's just a great way to add a little personal touch and kind of pretty up the paper that you are using and make it unique. Yeah, so I hope you had fun. Thank you for joining me today. Bye.